Chapter 13. The Encryption. Sunlight in Montauk is unforgiving. It hit the concrete walls of the estate at 6 a.m., turning the gray fortress into a blinding white monolith. Elena woke up with a start. The memory of the tablet under the cushion was the first thing in her mind, a jagged shard of panic. She turned her head. The other side of the bed was empty. The sheets were cool. She sat up, heart racing. Had he found it? She walked to the window. Down below, in the infinity pool that seemed to spill directly into the ocean, a figure was cutting through the water. Julian. He was swimming laps with machine-like precision. Stroke, breath, stroke, breath. He wouldn't stop for at least 30 minutes. Elena moved. She didn't bother with the robe. She pulled on a cashmere sweater over her slip and ran barefoot to the elevator. The ride down felt like it took hours. The library was exactly as she had left it. The fire was dead ash. The air was cold. She went to the armchair and lifted the cushion. The iPad was there. She let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. She sat down on the floor, hidden from the doorway by the bulk of the desk, and opened the cover. The battery was at 4%. She had to be fast. She navigated back to the home screen. The draft email was damning, but it was just text. Julian could claim Silas was hallucinating, paranoid from drugs. She needed something concrete, something that had a voice. She opened the Voice Memos app. There were dozens of files. Most were innocuous song ideas, random thoughts. But the last one, recorded 2 days before his death, was labeled simply, "The Ultimatum." Elena turned the volume down to the lowest audible setting. She pressed play, static. Then the sound of a heavy door closing. Silas's voice shaky. "I'm recording this. October 10th, 2 p.m. Julian just walked in." A pause, then Julian's voice. It was calm, terrifyingly calm. "Turn it off, Silas." "No, I want this on record. I know about the shell companies, Julian. I know about Project Aegis. You're selling user data to the Chinese Ministry of State Security. It's treason." "It's business," Julian replied smoothly. "We are a global company. We have global clients. It's illegal, and it's wrong. I built this platform to connect people, not to spy on them." "You built the toy, Silas. I built the empire, and I won't let you burn it down because you've found your conscience." "I'm going to the board. I have the ledger, I have the bank routing numbers." A long silence, then the sound of ice clinking in a glass. "You're tired, Silas," Julian said. His voice had dropped an octave. It was the voice he used when he was closing a deal. "You're emotional. You need rest. Maybe something to take the edge off." "I'm clean, Julian. Don't try to gaslight me." "Everyone relapse eventually," Julian said. "It would be such a shame if you had an accident before the vote, a tragic overdose. The market would be devastated." "Is that a threat?" "It's a projection," Julian said. "Give me the ledger, Silas." "Go to hell." The recording ended with the sound of a scuffle, then abrupt silence. Elena stared at the screen. Her hands were trembling so violently she almost dropped the device. It wasn't just murder, it was treason. It was a conspiracy that went beyond money, deep into geopolitics. If this got out, Ethelgard wouldn't just lose value, it would be dissolved. Julian would go to federal prison for life, and she was his chief strategy officer. She was his accomplice. She looked at the share icon. She could AirDrop it to her phone. She could email it to herself. But the house. Julian had said, "I have a jammer active on the property." She looked at the top corner of the iPad. No service. She couldn't send it. The house was a Faraday cage. She was trapped inside a concrete box with the evidence, unable to broadcast it to the world. She heard the elevator chime in the distance. Julian was back. Elena scrambled. She couldn't leave the iPad under the cushion. The cleaners might find it when they returned on Monday. She couldn't take it to her room. Julian might see it. She had to put it back. She shoved the iPad back into its hiding spot behind the Great Gatsby and the vintage encyclopedias. She pushed the books flush, aligning the spines perfectly. She stood up, smoothing her sweater. She grabbed a random book from the shelf, The Art of War, and sat in the armchair, opening it to a random page. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, wet footsteps. Julian appeared in the doorway. He was wearing a towel around his waist, water dripping from his hair onto his chest. He looked like a statue of a Greek god, powerful, beautiful, and utterly lethal. Early riser, he noted, leaning against the doorframe. Elena looked up. She forced her face into a mask of sleepy curiosity. "The light woke me up," she said. "I came to read." Julian walked over to her. He dripped water onto the polished concrete. He looked at the book in her hands. "The Art of War," he read. "Fitting." He reached out and touched her cheek. His fingers were cold from the pool. "Your heart is racing," he murmured, his thumb resting on the pulse point of her neck. Elena froze. He could feel it, the rapid thumping of her fear. "I was reading about the Battle of Changping," she lied smoothly. "Buried alive. It's intense." Julian smiled. He didn't pull his hand away. He pressed his thumb slightly harder against her pulse. "You're a terrible liar, Elena," he said softly. Elena's blood turned to ice. "He knows." "But," Julian continued, releasing her, "I suppose excitement does that to you. Strategy makes you hot." He stepped back. "Breakfast in 20 minutes, he said. "I'm making omelets. Put the book away." He turned and walked out. Elena watched him go. She waited until he was in the elevator before she let herself breathe. She looked at the bookshelf one last time. The evidence was there, the weapon that could kill him. But for now, the weapon was useless, and she was trapped in the cage with the beast.